All right, I was not comfy. I hit record and was not comfy. That's on me. That was a dumb move. Oh well. Uh, Anywho, I'm Matt. That's also Matt. We're gonna run down predictions for night 2 of WrestleMania 41. Last night kind of went as we kind of all thought, but it was still very good. And that's about it. Do you want to start with any reactions, Matt, from last night?
Um, I think really the only one is just glad they finally threw the belt on Jay. Like we predicted that, right? It was very interesting to see him take a lot of moves out of Gunther's playbook and use them on him to defeat him.
Man, I
Like
wish I
like
was there getting
choking
a
him
tan
out
right
at the
now.
end.
Sorry. I'm watching the pre-show, and it
Oh
just looks pleasantly warm with a breeze. And I'm like, man, I wish I was there, just tanning right now before WrestleMania. Anyways,
yeah,
you kind of have to though, right? Though, get back to what you said. Sorry. Um, it's Mania. You got to pull out all the stops. You got to do all the moves.
yeah.
And that's what he did.
It,
He busted a power bomb out, and Gunther went back to the well for the best move in all of wrestling, the
oh
Nirvana Baby belly flop.
yeah, that awful thing where his man boobs just acted like a
He's back closer to that. Now, don't get me wrong. I looked. Someone threw me a party, and I was going through photos, and I do the same thing. I go, okay, I'm out of shape. I get back in good shape. I get out of shape. I get back in good shape. So I know what he's going through. But stop going to the top rope when you're out of shape. Like, stop it. Get
He's got all
shredded,
that
then
extra
go back
weight.
up there. Flying abs hurt a whole lot worse than flying blubber. Like, don't do it. Like, that's just. Anyways,
Yeah.
but it was a good
It,
match.
and it was good to get that energy boost in the crowd in the very beginning
Right. I
of
just.
that. Like we kind of predicted, like if he's not going to be one of the main events, you got to put him out first in one of
Yeah,
the nights, right?
for sure. Um, I also liked he's like the longest ramp in wrestling every year is this one, and Uso's like, I'm gonna find a longer way. I'm gonna take the scenic route until
Yeah.
he came through the crowd again. But his sunglasses made sense because it was still bright and sunny out. I really hate that
Yeah.
about West Coast manias.
Yeah, because
Uh,
it stays daylight so long.
right, East Coast like it's weird to me watching like a Finn Balor demon or like a Undertaker come out and the sun is still out. It's just like loses the effect.
Yeah.
When you're there, it's lovely. Your night's done and you're like, I got plenty of time to do other stuff. It's only 10 o'clock. I'm going to go, the night's
Yeah.
young.
Yep.
So, but all right. And then obviously we had the Seth heel turn, or I'm not sure if he's a heel turn. Technically, you had the Paul Heyman heel turn, is what you had last night, technically on paper.
Yeah. The Paul Heyman double shocker.
Right. So, but I think we saw that coming, and we kind of feel like that's a bigger picture situation,
Yeah.
clearly, which we'll find out tonight, I suppose. But we should probably just jump into this card because I gotta get this uploaded again. We're gonna do
Yep.
more of these short podcast forums, and then hopefully have time to actually throw on some thumbnails. I'm gonna quickly run through that. We're still do the stream on Mondays. I would like to do on Saturday mornings, or not mornings, but Saturdays or so. Just dive into a couple different conversation pieces, and whether it be Charlotte, like we could have an entire 20-minute conversation about Charlotte versus Tiffy for sure. But
Yeah.
any of those things in short form content, and then start putting them up on Spotify as well as YouTube and get that growing. So expect that if you come across this. But anyways, we're gonna get into the predictions. Let's jump right in with like we did last time, bottom left to right. So
Yeah.
let's jump off with AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. What do you think is going to happen? What do you want to happen?
Um. I mean, I think pretty much everyone kind of hates Logan Paul to an extent, and would like to see AJ win. But ultimately, I kind of think it's going to be Logan Paul. I I don't think he's going to win clean. I think it's going to be in some way where some nonsense gets pulled and he beats him. I don't know if it creates a long going rivalry after this, but it's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yep. Sorry, I'm looking at uh, advertisements for next year's WrestleMania. And as you know, I'm already looking at hotels. So,
Yeah.
I actually differ with you on this. I like AJ Styles way more. I think there's a good chance he wins. My selections this time are more of my wants than they are my predictions in this case, honestly, except for maybe the main event. I'm actually predicting Logan wins because I want Logan to win. I think AJ could win just for a fan feel good thing and get another win under AJ's belt because it's been a minute. But I think Logan winning clean in what could be a show stealing match of the night with these guys' talent, kind of does the Tiffy Charlotte effect, where if Charlotte would have won, she'd been the biggest heel ever. I think Logan beating AJ clean at WrestleMania will just add to how much people already hate this guy.
That's a good point.
And put him on the map. AJ doesn't need to be on the map. AJ's already got credibility. Logan's got heat with no credibility. It's like that 18-year-old kid who's got a 770 credit score but has never bought a damn thing to his name. Like, it doesn't matter. There's no oomph behind it. That's the Logan Paul right now. He beats AJ clean in a barn burner, a slobber knocker, any one of these terms you want to throw out from the Attitude Era in a, potential classic WrestleMania match. It gives him that credibility behind that score, essentially, and adds that heat. So I'd love to see AJ win. Love AJ. Think it makes more sense in predicting that Logan wins clean in a hell of a match.
Okay.
You want to lead to the next one, or should I?
Yeah, I'll go into the next one. So Dirty Dom, Finn Balor, Braun Breaker, and Penta.
I gotta work on my bark. How do you bark? Woof! Woof!
I don't know. I got a dog. I
should be. Yeah, get the dog. That's a better choice because my barking skills suck.
So ultimately, I know I have to pick one person. It always gets tougher when you have a 4-way dance like this.
That's how this works. There's no sharing the belt. There's no time share.
Like, I have a thought that they'll keep it on Braun to keep the belt, but I'm also thinking they're really wanting to throw a belt on Penta. And I think this might be their moment to do it. So I think I'm going with Penta. But this one, I don't know. I find it a little hard to predict because they could do some sort of swerve where they put it on Dirty Dom and start a real big riff with him and Finn.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Penta, but I mean, it could go on all 4 of these guys and keep drama and story going in all 4 ways.
Yes. Agreed. This is a classic match that they don't really have that clear sight line. At least we don't as a fan base on where any of these guys are going. They could go anywhere at any time. There's nothing clear about it. We see both Braun and Penta as rising stars, clearly. Dom as his own unique force, powered by a mullet and a mustache. And then Finn is Finn. He's already had an insanely positive career. So the want for me is Finn. I'm a big Finn Balor fan. So I'm going to pick Finn for that reason. The reality is that I think it should stay on Braun. I think they could really turn Braun into a monster. Do they need more of them? I don't know, because they got Fatu, they got Strowman, they just signed Jeff Cobb. Excuse me. I don't know if they need more monsters, but I definitely would not let Braun Breaker get away from building this character. And I mean, after he literally, caused Carlito to plan his own funeral after that spear, just let this guy become the monster he can be. The fun storyline, though, is either Dom or Finn winning it. This way you drive the wedge between this could be the end of the Judgment Day no matter what. And this could be the final nail in the coffin. Hell, maybe you let Liv stop Dom from winning it and allows Finn to win it, and then you split Dom away from Liv and essentially fracture a Judgment Day that way. So there's so much they can do with either one of those two. So I think the winner will probably be one of those two. I'm rooting for Finn. But man, my brain tells me it should be Braun, and I would just keep booking this guy to be a monster. Personally.
Yeah. Yeah, it can really go a lot of ways.
Yeah, this one's one of those there's no, and Penta doesn't need it. Penta's been here for a cup of coffee. He's a massive star. They don't need to put a belt on him to enhance him. His matches are fine. They're good enough. They're great. Actually, who am I kidding? And on top of that, they give Braun a belt to build him up a little bit. They give Penta more fireworks and sparklers and spinning wheels of doom behind him than anybody else. So his character is already flushed out. His character's already got all this bang behind it already. It just seems like not something he needs right this minute to put a title on him for any reason. And,
yeah, I agree with that, but just kind of thinking with how WWE might go with things. They might
WWE needs to get another belt.
WWE
needs to get another belt. That's their problem. They just signed, they put Vikingo in the ring. If you've never seen him, he's insane. Yesterday, we saw him. He tore up the indie scene for a long time. He came here and worked with the base god himself, Gringo Loco, at an AIW event and killed it. The dude has got insane skills. He had a few matches at the competitor in AEW. That's the kind of stuff AAA is going to have. They're going to bounce these people back and forth. Grande Americano is going to go down to, AAA and be a huge heel. No doubt about it. Actually makes all the sense in the world that he won now that I think about it yesterday. But that was my one wrong pick. But what they need, though, if they're going to bounce some of these superstars back and forth, they're going to have a Penta, they're going to have a Phoenix, they need another belt. They either need like a South American championship or they need you just be generic and go with the cruiserweight again. But I mean, Penta's not a small dude, so I don't know if I'd call it a cruiserweight belt at this point. He's not La Parka, but he moves. He's a bigger dude that moves very well.
Yeah.
He might be bigger if I looked him up than AJ Styles, for example. So they need some type of high flyer international belt that just makes sense. And I think that's what they need to bring up for Penta and them right now, off the cuff. I think eventually Penta's winning the IC belt. Penta, I mean, if he stays on the same course he is now, who knows? Penta and Ray could be wrestling for the main titles at some point. We were talking about the ages of everybody yesterday, and Penta and Phoenix are two of the youngest already established top talents they got going forward. So in 5 years, when everyone else is 45 to 50 already, those guys will only be breaking into their 40s and topping out at 45. And they might be going for those titles at that point anyways. But I think right now, with the acquisition of AAA, they need some type of cruiserweight, high flyer.
Like a 205 Live coming back?
Yeah, or just put the belt on the show somewhere. They don't have a belt for high energy matches like that. And I think that, and don't make it a gimmick, don't make it a big deal, just go, this belt is going to be more for this scenario. And you know who you are. And you can challenge anybody. I mean, again, that's why I kind of want to say maybe it's bring in Mexico culture with it a little bit and have it be in there too. But you can't, it's hard because they're going to bring in Japanese stars, going to bring in other people too. So some type of belt that is, you know what you're getting at. It's some type of high flyer fun belt like that.
Yeah.
That's what Penta and them need right now, just to set them apart from the rest of that type of wrestler. But they're going to wrestle everybody. They're all just too good.
Yeah, I agree. We didn't move on. We're going to spend too much time here.
Again, there's less matches. It's okay. But that's a big one. And we didn't talk about the acquisition of AAA, which I think is huge. Wait for Vikingo. He's going to be insane. We're going to jump into then on the next side of the card here. We got Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. I guess I know I just finished up that one, but you kicked it off, so I'll kick off this one. Probably the most story outside of the main match, the main event match on the card tonight is these two going back and outlining how every time Damian Priest has taken advantage of mistiming, misfortune, feuds, whatever that Drew has had. I think Drew probably needs a W at some point. I'm picking Drew to get the W here only because I think it's time for him to pick one up. Uh, but I don't know. Again, both of these guys don't really need it. I think it would help boost Damian in another direction again. But Damian just needs to get into a good feud again and put on some good matches. Drew's got so many feuds going and so pissed at everybody that it doesn't really matter. He's just always whining about something anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Drew because I think he deserves a W here at some point, but I could see them giving it to Priest, and then Drew just goes on whining and Priest goes on into a new feud. Hopefully it's a good match.
Yeah, I think it should be. I think for me, I'm just going with Priest because I almost think they're just going to keep Drew McIntyre whining for now.
That makes complete sense.
Like, they're just going to keep that up, but I almost think after WrestleMania here, they'll be starting to get Drew and Priest back into, main event scenes for belts and getting them back into the mix after we had this build up since the Royal Rumble for WrestleMania, where it's just like, okay, we gotta finalize some matches here and get those really built up and a lot of interest and sell WrestleMania tickets.
Well, I agree unless Cena wins, and then you're not going to have Drew go after Cena.
Well, no,
maybe, but
you can have others.
Right.
But I think I'm keeping it pretty short and sweet with that one. You got anything else on that one?
No.
Okay. Pretty straightforward. So then leading into the next one, the women's tag titles, Liv and Raquel versus Lyra Valkyrie, and now a mystery partner because Bailey's out. And even with the pre-show, people with them talking about it, you're seeing chance for Becky. I think everyone's pretty much thinking the surprise is Becky. They could swerve us with someone else, but if it is Lyra and Becky, I'm kind of thinking they will have a surprise win. I'm not sure about this. It could kind of go either way. It could be just like the fanfare of like, hey, Becky's here, and some of the drama because what was it? Liv last kind of feuded with Becky before Becky split.
Yep.
So we'll see. What are you thinking here?
I'm obviously gonna pick Liv and Raquel because I'm not gonna ever pick against Liv. That's just I don't care. That want overseeds the common sense.
This is the whole reason I was always picking the Undertaker in the Attitude Era, not knowing that it's only going to be The Rock and Stone Cold, maybe Triple H. Stop picking the Undertaker.
I do know, and I don't give a shit. I'm gonna pick.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm in an era where the person I'm picking, it is going to be them because Liv is still the hottest thing going. Essentially, Liv and Rhea are the two hottest things going in wrestling to this point. But anywho, yeah, I want to go with Liv and Raquel for that reason. It does. I felt like Becky was a better pick before Becky showed up everywhere. Before they posted her on Instagram and Twitter for Seth's win backstage. Before they started talking about her on the pre-show. I felt like she was a better swerve. I don't know if they feel like, cat's out of the bag, let's just kind of like tease it anyways. Or if there's, that's part of the swerve and it's going to be Asuka or Kairi or, because we know Kairi Sane's there. I don't know if Asuka's there. Both of them could be coming back soon. Although they have no real feud with Liv and Raquel. Their feud is with X Damage Control. So storyline wise, it makes the most sense for Becky to come back here. I like your idea that it could just be a feel good win, especially if Cena's gonna take the win on the other side of it, on the men's side of it. They might want a feel good title change for good guys, but I don't know. I just don't feel like it's time for them to lose the belt yet. And then I don't also think what hurts is that Lyra's going to be a double champ then. She's going to have 2 belts.
Yeah.
So that makes it awfully tough to book both sets of belts constantly. That's one problem they have when they book these types of matches with women's. They've got to use the other women they have.
That's the thing. They might have this happy win moment where they get the belts, and they might take it right back off them right away.
They do like to do that. You're not wrong. They could do
Yeah.
it, but
I mean, they could do it tomorrow night and be like, "Oh, it's back on Liv and Raquel."
right, for sure, 100%. You're not wrong.
So,
Um, but the logical part of my brain goes, "Don't do that." Like,
well,
you know what's you do that, and then you know what's gonna happen. You know what? Do that. Fine, do that, so that Liv can start yelling. The first ever and the first four-time ever, making us the greatest tag team of all time. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
she already did that today during the pre-show,
With
right?
the 3, yeah. So let her lose the belt and come back and be the 4th. Just let her run away. Let her be the Charlotte and Ric Flair 17-time tag team belt
Yeah,
holder.
she'll just run with it.
Yeah. So it's
She
fine
really
they
will.
do it. But yeah, you know what? Cutting this down, I guess I'm gonna go with, like I said, Raquel and Liv. I think if Becky does come back, Becky steals the show and puts on the better part of the match, highlights everything, and then Liv and Raquel still win. They steal it somehow, whether it's dom interference, whether it's a quick, oh no, the roll up. It's something's gonna happen, and they're gonna sneak away. But everyone's gonna see that the force, the man, is back. If it's her,
Yeah.
she'll be the star of the match for sure.
Yeah.
That leads us into, even though it's backwards on the card, we know what the main event is. So we're going to do the triple threat women's world championship match with Rhea, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair next. And I think you kicked off the last one, so I'll kick this one off. This is another want. The mommy has to win just because it's Rhea, and I have no other choice. I'm obligated to choose her. Although I do love both other competitors. From a, you know, if I was going to buy into the storyline scenario of it, my argument would be is that Bianca had to be busy. Doesn't she make like everybody's gear? She didn't have time to train for this. She had to make Naomi's gear, probably Jade's gear, her own gear. She had no time for this, so she ain't ready. And then Io Sky, I mean, well, she's just really good. I'm just picking against her just out of luck. So reality is, I think any of them can win. Bianca's got an undefeated record going into WrestleMania tonight at WrestleMania. So
okay, yeah, that too.
That's a big help. They can continue that push. So Bianca could walk out of here with it. But this is another place you could see a Kyrie or Asuka show up and help out.
Yeah.
So that could be a way that Io could win this, being overlooked all the time, and maybe she just gets tired of that. I don't know. There's a lot of angles to it. I don't think there's any right winner. I don't think any one of them put the belt on any one of them and they're going to take it to new heights. I'm just picking Rhea just for the sake it's Rhea.
Okay. Yeah, you're very right on this. Like it could be any 3 of these. That's what makes this one so difficult, because you do have the angle where it's just like Io's here is just being overlooked and could really just have her pull it off and go like, yeah, you two are just ignoring me and I'm the better woman tonight and I beat you and I retain and I just keep it.
Yep.
But personally, I'm going with Bianca. Now, I'm not doing it because of her undefeated streak. I kind of forgot that until you brought it up.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't want to go against it, because you don't want her to. I would personally not want her to catch my favorite wrestler.
Well, records got to be broken eventually.
Right.
Wayne Gretzky's records have to be broken. One of them just was this year. So
yeah, but the other one's never gonna be broken.
Perhaps not.
The points one is just stupid. It ain't gonna get broken.
It's true, but you gotta have something to chase.
Right.
Anyways, I think eventually some year she'll get a loss because they don't want to do that to the Undertaker. I think they'll encapsulate that forever. But I'm going with her is I think it just just adds more fuel to the fire of just a feud with Rhea, where it's just like, you know, like she'll have some reason why it isn't a legit win and just be mad at her.
That's interesting.
Io might get kind of like pushed out of the side like she's been, but
Io's the one who's never lost to Rhea, though. That's like the real foe for Rhea right there.
Fair enough, but I mean, they got such a big just drama just between them. And I know Bianca has her own drama going on with, Jade
Jaden.
and Naomi, but if they leave that out as not a factor, I could see her just winning it and just pissing off Rhea more and creating a really big rivalry going towards SummerSlam, or they could finish it before even SummerSlam. But I think they got something there.
I think you're probably right. There's a lot of angles to it, but just sitting here staring at the picture too, I'm thinking to myself, if Io can pull this off, the photos, the moment of her friends Asuka and Kyrie, if they're both there, coming out to celebrate her with her after the match, is one of those WrestleMania moments, so to speak, especially internationally speaking.
Yeah, if they're both there.
They may. I know Kyrie's there. We saw her at the Hall of Fame. I don't know if Asuka's there.
Yep.
And then you could actually have a stable that's just hard to get to the champion.
Yeah.
You go back to one of those days when there's the champion is insulated with with a group around her as well.
Like how Chelsea Green is now.
Right, exactly.
She's got enforcers to get through.
Right. So that takes us to the main event.
Yep. You want me to take the lead on this, or you?
I mean, doesn't matter to me.
I'm still sticking with John. I think he becomes the Rock's champion. Whether he becomes that mountain for Cody or someone else to climb in the preceding months and PLEs, I think he solidifies himself as the big bad, evil Super Cena, and they just are chasing him for the rest of his final year. I don't know where it will take us, but I don't think he's gonna win it and then never come back with the belt. I'm taking my ball and going home. They'll have some stipulation where it's just no, we're suing you. You have to come back here and defend this belt.
But litigation.
Yeah, pretty much. I think if they just have Cody beat him and then we never see John again, I think it's really just deflating.
Yeah, it's a lot of build up for nothing.
Yeah, it's about all I got on that.
All right, I'm going to jump in then, and I'm going to say I agree that John wins. I don't believe litigation will be involved.
Well, they gotta come up with something to be
Heyman's
you
dad
can't
comes
just take
out.
your
I don't know if
shit home.
I don't know if Heyman's dad's still alive. If he is, if he isn't, I apologize. But his dad was a lawyer.
Yeah, I remember that.
His dad comes out and he's like, "Stop the proceedings." Cody and them have hired him to do the case. So no, I think John wins. Now the question I have is how does John win? I don't think it'll be clean. I think that The Rock will come down and maybe Seth will come out and Seth will look to be the helper and get in the way. And then we see Seth do the heel turn. And then you see that the Seth and The Rock and Cena are now one force. Maybe. I could see on the really far out there heel turn possibility of the Jey Uso. That's still a possibility in my mind. Comes out again to back up Cody because he's been Cody's backup.
And he might have become one of the Rock's champions last night.
Right. So there's a way that he comes out. They both could come out. The problem is this is not a no disqualification match. So it's got to be done in a way that makes sense. When the final boss is there, I guess he can technically do whatever he wants. He can make it a Tribal Chiefs or whatever it is rules match if he wants to midway through. He is the boss. We have to assume The Rock is there, even though we haven't seen him. So I think as much shenanigans as you possibly is going to have, could possibly be in one situation is going to happen tonight. I could see actually all of it happening. I could see The Rock showing up. I could see Seth showing up. I could see somebody else coming up to help Cody, and then Jay comes out like he's going to help Cody, and he turns on him, and all this stuff happens, and John wins the belt. And then tomorrow, John comes out, he kicks off Raw with this massive, massive promo, and about how he's going to take the ball and go home. He did what he had to do. The champ is the real champ. The last real champ is here. And Cody goes, the last real champ needed everybody to beat me. And now you have to go home and take your balls and go home and realize that you don't have them anymore because it took the entire WWE to beat me type of deal. And just play into John Cena's ego to get him to come back. Be like, no, you couldn't beat me one-on-one. You proved that. You needed to side with the devil. You needed to turn Seth. You needed to turn Jay. And then you didn't beat me. You escaped. And if that's what you have to do, then fine, John Cena. The last real champ is a gutless coward. And then the ego of John Cena comes into play. And we continue the story from there, which is why he doesn't take his ball and go home. It's because they play into the ego because it takes so many people to help beat Cody.
Almost like the old buildup of Cena and Rock, where Cena was around and Cena was just shitting on The Rock not being there, which eventually makes him come out of the shadows and confront him.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and I think that's probably how they're going to play this if and when he wins tonight, is that whole angle of like, it took a faction slightly smaller than the corporate ministry to beat Cody. And then the question will become, who will come to Cody's aid to help battle again? Because Cody, like you said, he's the quarterback. He's QB1. So he's going to need a team behind him to battle the new head of the table, the new group, the new force. And I foresee that being Punk, Roman, and another to be named later, rather it be Randy Orton or somebody else.
Yeah.
That's actually the last question we should have had because we didn't put it on the card because it's not here yet. Who's winning who's wrestling? I don't even know who's winning is the question. Who is the opponent for Randy Orton tonight?
I hadn't seen anything on this until you mentioned it. Like I think a little bit before we started this recording, because I didn't hear about it. I have no idea. I really don't have a clue at this point.
It could be Nick Aldis. It really could be the GM.
You think?
He is jacked. He has been an NWA World Champion. He is no slouch.
And he slapped me one too many times. Right. Or RKO'd
That was good, the payoff. He got RKO'd, fined Randy $50,000 like months ago, like years ago. Perhaps.
Yeah, and then
he wrote him 100 for the next one, and they got RKO'd again. So that was great storytelling and paying off there. I loved that. Yeah. But so yeah, the question is who could they bring back, or who could they have quietly signed to take that role against Randy if it's not Nick? And they signed Jeff Cobb. I don't think he'll be there. I don't think that's a significant enough sign for WrestleMania either. You'd have to really pull in someone big, or if someone come back, and I can't think of anybody who's been hurt. I mean, Bronson Reed's been hurt, but I don't know if he does the trick. I don't know if he moves the needle.
I don't think he's ready to come back yet.
I'm not sure.
His ankles.
Yeah. You have. He's
got a lot of weight on him. He's gonna have to rehab that really badly.
Yeah.
It's gonna take some time.
I'm trying to think of who else has been hurt. I can't think of anybody else who's been hurt that could come back right now. I'm blanking.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I'm leaning towards Nick Aldis, but there's a chance. It's a hell of a surprise, and they just pull something out of nowhere, a rabbit out of the hat for this one. And that could be the biggest surprise on the card, is whoever they bring back for this.
Yeah, it might be.
I guess, is there anybody who's had a history of issues with Randy? It's definitely not Batista.
Yeah, no, he's not coming back.
I mean, I think the biggest surprise would be if they somehow brought Brock back.
Oh.
If they brought Brock back for that.
But that's the thing. Well, if they didn't bring Brock back last night for that, main event. I don't think they're doing it for this night.
I mean, how many X's do they want to have around Heyman? It's real convoluted then. But maybe you're right. I think that last night would have made more sense. But I'm just looking at like Impact wrestlers they could bring in, and he would definitely be one.
I don't know. Well, you bringing up Aldis might be the best one.
Yeah, I just don't know if they want to do that. I think Aldis would be a great choice, but I don't know. They could bring up someone like Obi, for example. Femi could show up and be his opponent, I guess, technically.
Oh yeah, hell of a way to call him back up. Although he just won the title yesterday, retained.
Yeah, that one doesn't seem likely. I'm just throwing out ideas at this point.
That point is just like, okay, the NXT champion came up here and kicked your ass, and yeah, he's going back to NXT.
Solo hasn't had a match. Solo could be involved.
Yeah.
Who else is on here?
Haku's there.
Haku can come out.
Haku,
yes.
you want to kill someone one last time, you crazy monster? God, he was scary.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm leaning towards like the best case scenario of people on active roster right now to be Solo, Nick Aldis, and the last one I could think of that's on the roster right now that doesn't have a match is The Miz.
It's possible.
None of them make a lot of sense right now, story-wise. So I'm not.
Yeah, not really.
Really, any of them. Kaiser could be another option. He doesn't have a match. That's just a heel to go up against Randy, so that makes some sense in that regard. But nothing really heavily. Yeah, I don't know. I hope they have a good idea for this surprise. Nick Aldis will work, but I think they've got an ace up their sleeve. I'd love to see it tonight.
Yeah, it'd be really good if they got something they're hiding.
Yeah, if it's not someone major, then he needs to. I mean, Randy's gonna win.
Great analogy for us being in Vegas too. By the way, ace up the sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah, I changed tabs and I saw the hoodie again that I've been debating.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get my Frosted Yeets.
Yeah.
I saw the new Jey Uso shirts and I'm just like, it's not quite.
I don't do
what I
pictures
want.
on there. I'd get his yeet with the palm tree on the back before I got anything else.
Yeah.
Give me a slogan. Give me a logo more so than give me a face. I don't want a face on my shirt. This is the face of a panda.
Yeah.
It's one of Gargano's original shirts back from his indie days.
Gotcha.
But
well,
yeah, I think that sums it up. I think we got it done. We're 7 minutes shorter than yesterday, so that's a plus.
Good.
But
hurry up and get off of here so we don't make it longer somehow.
Yeah, I got 30 minutes to get this thing up, so it's time dated so that my predictions don't go, with an asterisk.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's been fun. We'll be back with more of these, and I'm gonna need to change my background here at some point. More of these going forward.
Yeah.
So, any last thoughts?
Nah, my only thing is I think I look more forward to the Saturday night card than this one, but hopefully this one surprises me and I'm just as satisfied with it in all the matches.
I think last night's card had more matches where they had explosive finishes and things we wanted to see paid off.
Yeah.
I think this card has more matches that are potential show stealers.
Yeah,
I think from a wrestling standpoint, this is the night that if you want to watch the matches per se, this is the night for that.
Last night's card seemed more like stories to finalize.
Right.
This night seems more like stories to continue to run with and add drama to.
Correct. But I also just think tonight has more, for me personally, with the way the styles are, the matches have more potential to be explosive in my mind. There were some good matches last night, but I think Logan and AJ could steal the show. I think that Fatal 4-Way could steal the show with the talent that's in that.
I definitely hope it's AJ and Logan opening up the show.
I think they could, with some of the stuff Logan then will do, more than likely could really get the crowd going.
Yeah.
From
That's
a
really
match
why.
standpoint, if you want to start off with something that gets the fans involved at the drop of from like the sound of the music, then you have to kick it off with the women's match, the triple threat, in my opinion.
Oh, fair enough.
If This Is My Brutality hits first, the place goes nuts.
Okay, true.
That's. But I think and that match could be very good. Don't get me wrong. But I think tonight for me, it's all about the matches.
Gotcha.
So, let's go enjoy. We're gonna enjoy WrestleMania 41, the last night here of it, and then we'll be back to stream and talk all things Raw and WrestleMania on Monday.
Yep.
So
good.
This will get posted, and we'll be streaming again tomorrow night. Talk to you later.
See you later.